So what would Lindsey Graham do? I would tell Mexican government, if you don't clean up your act, we're going to clean it up for you.
60, 80, 100,000 people disappeared. They have open warfare on the streets of Mexico. They're some of the most well-armed, most well-funded paramilitary groups in the world. You think the Mexican people just want them around?
Good Friday afternoon to everybody. Hope everybody's doing well, and thank you for joining us. So today we're going to talk some world news. We're talking about the firestorm that's kicking up in between Mexico and the American government, mostly the Republicans. The war drums are beating to go and fight the cartels. And all this became because of the recent kidnapping and murder of two American U.S. citizens. These are the picture of four of them that were kidnapped and two of them that were deceased. Lativa McGee and Eric Williams are the two survivors. Woodward and Zadell Brown, I believe, are the two on the right that were murdered by the Mexican cartels. Here is actual footage of the kidnapping taking place. Looks like they were ran off the road, and this is the cartels throwing Lativa into the back of the truck and pretty much manhandling them. They found them not too long after that in a shed, and the Mexican government ended up sending the bodies back to the United States. But now that that's all been said and done, the U.S. government and the U.S. politicians, especially two of Republican politicians, one being South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham and former Navy SEAL Congressman from Texas, Dan Crenshaw, are the ones beating the war drums to go in and fight the cartels. Here, let you hear some of Lindsey Graham's interview.
Introduced legislation, Jesse, to make certain Mexican drug cartels foreign terrorist organizations under U.S. law and set the stage to use military force if necessary to protect America from being poisoned by things coming out of Mexico. So what would Lindsey Graham do? I would tell Mexican government, if you don't clean up your act, we're going to clean it up for you.
So Lindsey Graham is pretty much, he is introducing a bill that will categorize the Mexican cartel as a terrorist organization. And what this does, it opens up the gates to being able to combat them, which means the U.S. can go just like how they do in Afghanistan and Iraq and other parts of the world and be able to actually, drop, bombs. I'm not saying like maybe bombs would take a whole city out, but they would definitely be able to target certain houses in Mexico and get drones and drop missiles is what the word I'm looking for, and actually start killing a lot of the cartels. But this is a very slippery slope because once you start dropping bombs in a place so close as Mexico and you are identifying them now as terrorists, I can guarantee you that's going to be some major blowback out here in the States. You will eventually have a war out here because if you're fighting the cartels, you're fighting the Mexican government because that's how intertwined they are with each other. Now let's listen to a little bit of what Representative Crenshaw was talking about.
My response to him is, who are you representing? The Mexican people or the cartels? He seems to be representing the cartels. He seems to have their interest in mind. I mean, the Mexican people want to be rid of the cartels. The Mexican people have been terrorized by the cartels for 20 years at this point. You just named a bunch of statistics. I mean, 60, 80, 100,000 people disappeared. They have open warfare on the streets of Mexico. They're some of the most well-armed, most well-funded paramilitary groups in the world. You think the Mexican people just want them around? Of course not. And for AMLO to say that, for AMLO to defend them, when what our AUMF does is literally just help Mexico. And he knows that, right? He makes it sound like there's going to be tanks rolling in over the border, attacking Mexican military all of a sudden. That's of course not what's going to happen. What would happen is how the United States operates all the time in these situations. We do it by, with, and through our host government. We had something called Plan Colombia that helped Colombia release itself from the grip of cartels, from the FARC, from the guerrillas, all of it. Colombia is a great place now. We need to replicate that in Mexico, but we had partners in Colombia, and that's what we're lacking with AMLO. What I tell the Mexican people is this: if I could pick one country in the world besides my own that I would make 10 times better, I would pick Mexico because it's one of our most important allies. It's right there on our southern border. Like, we need Mexico and they need us.
Well, the president of Mexico didn't take too kindly to Graham or to Crenshaw speaking about, making it a terrorist organization for the cartels, branding them that. And let's hear what the Mexican president has to say about all this.
Nosotros no vamos a permitir que intervenga ningún gobierno extranjero, y mucho menos que intervengan fuerzas armadas de un gobierno extranjero en nuestro territorio. Nada más decirles que o cambian su trato hacia México o desde hoy comenzamos con una campaña informativa en Estados Unidos para que todos los mexicanos, nuestros paisanos, sepan de esta alevosía, de esta agresión de los republicanos a México. Y si continúan con esa actitud, vamos a estar insistiendo de que ni un voto de mexicanos, de hispanos, que ese es un pueblo independiente, soberano, costó mucho.
So basically, in a nutshell, what the Mexican president is saying he would do is he would call out the Mexican people of the United States not to vote Republican, to vote against any Republican that's even speaking or mentioning making the cartels a terrorist organization. He doesn't want any involvement of the United States into Mexico, which seems to be that he doesn't want any help. So, I mean, it's his right as the president of Mexico to say that. Now, will the Americans go in there? We don't know. We're going to see how much support Graham can get for his bill. But I will tell you this, the cartels are definitely feeling the heat. They know one thing you don't do is you don't kill American citizens. And this is something that they showed by coming up. They actually wrote an apology letter and gave up these 5 men and said these are the people responsible for the murders of the Americans, and said something to the effect that they don't attack Americans, that it was a mistake on their part, and like pretty much hopefully you guys forgive us, here's your 5 guys. But I kind of doubt that's gonna fly. First of all, you don't even know who these people are. They could be just random people they picked up on the street. They could be enemies of theirs. Who knows? Time will tell who they are. But all I know is that this is getting very heated. This is getting very real. And this just might be the opportunity that a lot of American politicians have been looking to go and start fighting the cartels. All right, people, with that being said, make sure to leave a comment below. Keep it respectful. Let me know what you think. Should we go with Graham's idea of going in there and making cartels a terrorist organization? Should we go with the Mexican president's idea and just stay completely out of their politics? Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so I continue to bring you more of this type of programming. It's great educational stuff to know what's going on around the world and what's going down in our border. With that, you guys stay dry, stay blessed, and God bless.